Our story takes place at Schuyler School, where Susan Green, a newly graduated special education teacher, faces her first significant challenge. Carl Hughes, a student diagnosed with behavioral disorder, has recently begun exhibiting aggressive behaviors following his parents' bitter divorce 3 months ago. His behavior has shifted from self-abuse to aggression towards his classroom teacher, Mrs. Nancy Taylor. We'll witness how different educational perspectives and family dynamics impact intervention strategies.
Yeah, now, miss, let me talk, me and you. You see this boy they call Carl? I don't want him in my class. He sharpened a pencil and pelted at my head. He's shouting at the other children. And if he back broad, I afraid for my life. I can't hold he down. It had 25 other children in my class. And them set of procedures you give me to deal with he not working. He don't care if I take away privileges. Get he out of my class before it go be me and he had to go through something today.
So what you're trying to tell me is his behavior moved from being self-abusive to being physically threatening to the teachers and the students?
No, it's only me he really aggressive at. He not really doing the kids, but he's shouting at them. But look, the other day when he was going home, he pelted Mrs. Green from the maxi with stone. What are you going to do with him?
Well, remember, Miss Taylor, Carl has been diagnosed as having a behavioral disorder. So we can't change anything about this until we get an IEP meeting with his parents.
His mother and them don't really care, you know. The last behavioral meeting, they all we could do whatever we want with he. So all this such a waste of time, just take you out of my class now. Oh gosh, please.
The resource room was designed as a pull-out program, taking children in and out throughout the day.
Well, you need to come up with something quick, you know, because talking to he not making no sense, because he don't afraid nobody.
Yes, miss, I understand your concerns. I will do everything in my power to get this sorted as soon as possible, okay?
This interaction reveals fundamental differences in classroom management philosophies. Mrs. Taylor exhibits what behaviorists would call a traditional approach to classroom management that emphasizes control, structure, and power. According to attribution theory by Wiener, Mrs. Taylor sees Carl's behavioral issues as deliberate disruptions rather than symptoms of underlying problems. Her approach aligns with the common misconception that removing a problem student will eliminate classroom issues, as noted by O'Connor, Daring, and Collins. Susan, meanwhile, wants to implement a more collaborative approach, recognizing that Carl's behavior likely stems from his parents' divorce and family instability. Research by Amato shows that children from divorced families, especially in cases of high conflict divorce, often experience emotional and behavioral problems due to instability and reduced parental involvement.
Miss Wills, yes, this is Susan Green from Schuyler School. I'm calling about a student named Carl Hughes. His behavior has escalated significantly. Yes, from self-harm to aggression. His class teacher is very, very concerned. Remove him when he's out of control? And I should have male support because of his size? I understand. Thank you for your guidance. Yeah. Okay, I need to create a behavior intervention plan that addresses Carl's needs while keeping everyone safe. Okay, removing him from the classroom is not an option for me.
Yeah, no, miss. Any progress with Carl? Because he yelled at the next student today. I can't handle this, you know. How will you expect me to teach?
Yes, so I've spoken with Miss Wills and we are going to get an intervention plan. I also scheduled a meeting with the superintendent tomorrow and we have scheduled an IEP meeting with his parents. This is so we can get an approval for any program changes.
All the sort of intervention and planning. When Miss Lewis was here, we used to just put them in detention and get them a workbook.
Yes, miss, but we need to consider what's best for Carl. I've also came up with a plan to intervene when he gets aggressive, but we also need to understand what is triggering these behaviors.
Susan's approach reflects a more nuanced understanding of behavioral challenges. Rather than immediately resorting to exclusionary practices that Skiba and colleagues have shown often worsen student behavior, she is attempting to develop an intervention plan based on understanding the function of the behavior. According to Bandura's social learning theory, behavior is shaped by environmental influences and learned through observation. Carl's aggression likely stems from external factors rather than deliberate defiance. Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory further supports this, showing how disruptions in one system, likely the family, directly impacts behavior in another, like school. Susan's dilemma also highlights the challenge of balancing immediate classroom needs with effective long-term interventions. The tension between Mrs. Taylor's traditional approach and Susan's more progressive methods represents a common dynamic in educational settings.
Thank you for coming today, Ms. Hughes. Today we wanted to discuss Carl's behavioral changes and how to develop a plan that we can help him better.
Sure. Yes, Miss Hughes. You know, Carl is such a lovely boy. I really enjoy having him in my class. But you know, there's 25 other kids in the class and I'm very concerned about that. I really want him to be in the right educational setting, you know?
Okay, I understand.
Good evening, miss. Good evening, miss. Good evening, Sita.
I hope you're happy. Because if you didn't leave us for the woman, I would not be working 50 hours to feed your children. How you really expect me to control him when I working so much hours? How? And when was the last time you take the child? When was the last time you spent time with him? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I really don't know what to do. You think I should give him some of his brother Adderall or something? I don't know.
Ms. Hughes, I think you should talk to Carl's doctor about that first. What we would like to do here is to develop a plan to help Carl when he's feeling overwhelmed. So when his behavior becomes hostile, I will take him to my resource room and calm him down before I take him back to his teacher's class. Yeah?
Yeah. Well, do all you want to know, give me the papers I have to sign because I just try my best to be a good mother. Like I just try. And I don't know what to do again. I don't know. Just give me the papers,
So you're gonna sign right here, right here.
I still said we could just bring another woman in detention and give them a workbook.
This poignant scene reveals the complex interplay between home and school environments that affects Carl's behavior. Bowlby's attachment theory, as referenced in our course materials, suggests that children with insecure attachments often manifest behavioral changes due to feelings of abandonment or insecurity. The bitter divorce and ongoing parental conflict have created emotional turmoil for Carl, which he externalizes through aggression. Mrs. Hughes' response shows the significant stress she's under, struggling with single parenthood, financial concerns, and emotional distress. This aligns with research from the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, showing higher rates of behavioral issues among children from high-conflict divorces and single-parent households. Mrs. Taylor's attitude reflects her frustration, but also reveals how teacher perceptions can influence student outcomes. According to O'Connor, Daring, and Collins, teacher attitudes significantly impact student self-concept and behavior. If Carl perceives that his teacher doesn't believe he can behave well, he may fulfill that expectation through increased acting out.
Let's see. All right, so prior psychological profile focus on self-harm. Family situation has changed drastically. Parents' divorce was high conflict. Siblings also receiving emotional support services. Mother working long hours. All right. His outbursts seem unpredictable, out of the blue. But there must be triggers. Something must be triggering this child. The removal intervention plan doesn't seem to be addressing the underlying issues. I need a more comprehensive approach. Carl needs stability. He needs emotional support. And he's not getting that at home. Simply removing him from the class would bring back those feelings of rejection. I need to incorporate positive behavioral interventions and teach self-regulation strategies. Right? I also could build a nice emotional connection with him. Yes. That's it.
Susan's reflection demonstrates an evolving understanding of Carl's situation. After meeting Carl's mother and learning more about his home life, she recognizes that his previous psychological profile may no longer capture his current needs. As Erikson's psychosocial development theory suggests, children in Carl's age group, industry versus inferiority stage, need to develop competence and self-worth. His unstable home environment may be creating feelings of inferiority that manifest as aggressive behaviors. Susan's instinct to move beyond a simple removal strategy aligns with best practices in behavioral intervention. According to Miltenberger, effective interventions should address the communicative function of disruptive behavior rather than simply managing the symptoms. By isolating Carl, Susan risks denying him the opportunities for social development through positive peer modeling, which Bandura identified as fundamental for behavioral development. Now, let's examine some evidence-based strategies that could help Susan, Mrs. Taylor, and Carl's family create a more effective intervention plan.
Based on our course materials, here are key recommendations for addressing Carl's situation. For teacher-student relationship and classroom management, we can implement positive reinforcement strategies rather than focusing solely on punishment. Horner, Sugai, and Anderson's research showed this approach encourages positive behavior and boosts intrinsic motivation. We can conduct a functional behavior assessment to identify triggers for Carl's aggression and develop targeted interventions. We can teach Carl self-regulation strategies like deep breathing and mindfulness and allow him to take structured breaks to help him manage his emotions. We can also create a structured classroom environment with clear daily routines and visual schedules, consistent classroom rules, a designated calm-down space, and predictable seating arrangements.
For family support, establish structured parent check-ins with both parents to maintain consistent communication. Provide parents coaching and resources to help Ms. Hughes manage Carl's behavior at home. And connect the family with counseling services that specialize in helping children cope with divorce.
Collaborative problem solving. Build a collaborative team approach involving Susan, Nancy, school counselors, and Carl's parents. Establish regular team meetings to monitor progress and adjust interventions as needed. Develop a crisis response protocol for when Carl becomes aggressive. Implement a check-in, check-out system with a trusted adult mentor.
For Carl's social emotional development, teach emotional management strategies through small group instruction. Encourage peer support to foster a sense of belonging. Help Carl identify his triggers and develop personalized coping strategies. Prioritize inclusion over withdrawal to prevent feelings of rejection. By applying these evidence-based strategies, Susan and Nancy can create a supportive environment for Carl and address both his immediate behavioral challenges and his long-term social emotional development. As Benner's ecological systems theory reminds us, effective interventions must consider the multiple systems influencing a child's behavior, from family to school to community.
We are proud to bring you this ad-free presentation inspired by Dr. David Mohammed. Thank you for watching!
Well, remember Mrs. Nancy, Mrs. or Miss? What's her name? Having a behavior disorder. Carl has been. Don't look. Okay, all right.
The communicative function of communicative. All right, we're gonna cut this. I did not. That's because I leave out the reference and throw more off. I feel like I didn't really make much mistakes there. Did I make mistakes? I didn't. All right.
I am not doing it. I am practicing. Just now. Make sure record and see if that's working,
To support. Encourage peer groups. Stay now.
He did this before.